welcome back once again in this CCNA 200301 series, right? So in last video we discussed about OSI model, right? So in this video let's discuss IP addressing. Okay, so this video is going to be about IPv4 address, and what we are going to cover in this video, so we'll discuss the introduction part, right? Then there are some IP classes, then how to convert from decimal to binary and binary to decimal, and unicast, broadcast, multicast, right? So multiple type of transmissions are there, and then there are some reserved IP address. Then say there are some types of IP, like static IP is there, and then dynamic IP, and your public and private IP concept is there due to NAT. And there is some IP address assignment scheme, right? How IP is assigned from your ISP to you at home, and how you are using public and private IP addresses. And we will also discuss about some terminology, right? So what is INA and RIR? So let's start with this video right away. So first of all, let's see what's there for us. So just start it, and okay. So first slide is about three-tier assignment architecture. So what we mean by here by this slide is that, like if I take this example of packet tracer, okay, and you are having your PC at home like this, and you want to use internet on this, and you need to connect your PC with your Wi-Fi router, remember? So if I take the example for Wi-Fi router, then you know your PC is connected to the router, okay, but your router is getting the internet connection from your service provider. So for example, the router is connected like this, in this way, okay. So this is the way we are getting our IP address. So now how this IP is being distributed, like suppose for example this is your Jio fiber, I'm using Jio fiber internet connection, or you can use some Airtel connection, right? Okay, so it's up to you. So now this ISP, this Jio or this Airtel, how they are getting IP address? Do they generate IP address? No. So who controls all of the IP addresses? So there is this authority, this organization, which is INA. Again, INA has all the control. Then what is the concept of RIR and everything? So how IP is actually divided and distributed, that we are going to cover in this part, right? So okay, let's start with this. So this is your basic concept, and that should be clear first of all. So now if I take this example, what is INA? INA is Internet Assigning Number Authority. So this is an authority, an organization which controls all of the numbers on the internet. Which kind of number? IP, MAC, and it is your port address, it is your autonomous system number. So all of these addresses, they are controlled and managed by this single authority, which is INA, right? But now if you will see, this is the whole world, and to manage and to distribute IP in the complete world, INA has divided the complete world into 5 parts, right? So these separate entities, these smaller parts, they are known as RIR, Regional Internet Registry, right? So from INA, these RIR get the block of IP address. So for example, this got the 10 to 30, this one got 50 to 70, this one got 110 to maybe 149. So like that, INA distributed the IP in the RIRs, okay. Then if you need like if our service provider like Jio need IP address, so from where they will get their IP, right? So they will get their IP from RIR. So there comes the concept of tier 1 providers, tier 2 service providers, and tier 3 service provider. So it is like that. From INA, IP ranges are distributed to RIR. From RIR, IPs are given to tier 1 ISPs. Tier 1 ISPs, which these are the companies which have their undersea fiber cabling. It means they are contributing into the internet, right? So these are getting the primary IP addresses. Okay, after that they will distribute IP to customer like Airtel, means the tier 2 ISP which don't have their own infrastructure for internet and they rely on these tier 1 ISPs. And now these comes your domestic, like your local, like from where we connect our routers in our streets, in our homes, right? So these are the local service providers. So like in Delhi there is Tikona, there is Hathway, and yes, maybe in some different countries there are some different local service provider. So this is how IP addresses are basically assigned. So it doesn't mean that when I'm using internet at my home, so I'm accessing the IP address directly from INA. No, it's not like that. Okay, so this is the concept of IP assignment. So everything is written here. So what we have covered, what is a host? Okay, all of the devices in a network on which IP can be configured. It can be your mobile, it can be your PC, it can be a server, it can be a printer, it can be IP phone, it can be IP camera, etc, etc. Any device at which IP can be configured. Alright. Okay, then what are nodes? Nodes are all of the devices in a network. There can be IP configured on that device, or like layer 2 switch, there is no IP as such, so that is also a node, right? All of the devices are nodes, and among nodes, the devices which can be configured IPs are called as host. Now what is a link? Suppose this is a host or node, this is another node. How we are connecting these two nodes? So this is a link, means interconnection between different nodes in a network, that is a link. So communication I have discussed, medium and signal I have discussed in the very first introductory video. So this slide contains this much data, and let's move on to the next slide for the further topics, right? So let's see what the next slide concludes. Okay, so we have discussed what is INA. So just look at this slide. We have discussed what is RIR, so just read about it. I have discussed everything, and then maybe one more slide about this introductory part. Okay, so this I have also explained. So let's start with IP address now, introduction part of the IP address. So what about IP? It is a 32-bit number, and which is binary number. Okay, so first of all, before starting this, let us understand why we need IP address. Okay, why and how we need IP, how we get IP. See, if you'll go to the PC, if you'll go to the desktop and IP configuration, there we will have these two settings, static IP and DHCP. So it means any device which want to be registered on some network, it needs some addresses, right? It means in simple words, sorry, any network, not network, any device which want to be the part of a network, which want to be the part of a network, needs some addresses, right? And what are those addresses? First of all, MAC address, physical address. When this device is manufactured, it is assigned a serial number, so that is its media access control, MAC address. So that is 48-bit address. Then we need IP address. Why we need IP address when we have separate address for identification? See, MAC address was just for your physical identification, so that you can identify this single device among 1 lakh or 10 lakh devices generated by this brand or this company. Maybe this was IBM PC, so maybe IBM produced 10 lakhs PC. So what is the identification of this device in these 10 lakh devices? That is denoted by MAC address. And how this device can be tracked worldwide in any of the networks, so that is also basic on the MAC address. But now when this device, so let me erase this for a while. So suppose this device want to be the part of some network. So let's say there is this switch like this, and there are multiple PCs connected to this switch, right? How this one will be identified as a separate device from this one and from this one in a network? So there you need IP address, another identification. So that identification is internet protocol, right? So to be the part of network, we need some protocol to identify a device. So it means IP, it is a unique identification of each device in a network. So why we need or why we use IP address? So that we can uniquely identify a device in any particular network. So it means that's the reason why we need to have unique IP address. It means if this PC is having 10.10 IP, this 10.10 cannot be used on any other PC in that network. So this need to have 10.1, 10.2, 10.3 and etc, etc. So right, which is the third address? That is port address. If you remember OSI model, so in OSI model transport layer we have discussed port address. So that was 16-bit address. So I hope this part is clear to you, why we need MAC address plus why we need IP address. And let me give you one more example for that, practical example, so that it is clear to you. So just a second, let me clear this mess. So okay, let's take two devices, two hosts like that, and let's connect them by using a cross cable. Okay, fine. So now when we are connecting them, we need some IP address. So let's assign the IP. So that is 10.1. okay. Yes, the IP should be valid like that. So 10.1 is here and 10.2 is here, right? So when I will do this simulation part, okay, like that, if I need to send some data from this PC to this PC, see these packets, if you'll read them, you will have these packets and frames. If you remember OSI model, right? So what we were doing, we were dividing larger data into multiple smaller data units. So at each layer these data units were called as protocol data unit, and at layer 4 that PDU was known as segment, and layer 3 it was known as packet. So in packet we were having IP information, source IP and destination IP. So this is the source IP 10.1 and this is 10.2 आपकी destination IP, right? So yes, if you will see these packets, I'm having IP here. So if you will just close this, so just remember this thing only, just simple thing, that if you don't have IP address, you cannot create these packets, and if you cannot create the packets, you cannot logically flow the data in a network. It means so that your data can be transferred from one device to another, it means you need some connectivity, you need some reachability within devices in a network. So that is not provided by MAC. No, MAC cannot do this part. MAC is only for a single device identification, right? It cannot be used to identify a device in a network. So to identify a device in a network, some different address scheme is used, and that is IP. So just remember, all of these networks are based on IP. All of the data networks are nowadays IP networks, right? So I hope this point is clear to you now. So when this IP basic part is clear to you, so let's now read about the basics of your IP, means how many bits of address is there and how classes are divided and everything, right? So just delete it and go to the slide. So what about IP now? IP is a 32-bit number. It means if you'll see everything that we discuss in digital, right? So that is in binary language. Whatever we are talking about computers, everything will be in binary language. It means computers can only understand 1010 like this bit streams. So what is a bit? First of all, it is the combination of these two words, binary plus digit, bint, binary digit. So bit means binary digit. So there are only two binary digits. So bit 0 is a bit and again 1 is a bit. So there are only two bits that can be 0 and 1. Okay, and as in decimal number system, see, we have 0 to 9 number. It means total 10 numbers, 0 to 9. But in binary number system, we have only two numbers, 0 and 1. So computer need to convert my decimal number into binary number so that it can understand data. But as we know, we are not comfortable with binary number. So we humans, we need decimal numbers, right? So that is the reason that computers understand binary. So for computer processor RAM part, IP is of 32 bit. Okay, and yes, then it is represented in dotted decimal. If you remember, IP is written as 10.0.5.7 like that. So that we can understand, so let me give you an example also, just a second for that. Okay, see, if we have four computers like that, or any four devices, not just computers, it can be any host, any device. This has 192.168.1.3, 10.7.5.5, 172.19.1.11 and like that. So can you imagine what is the binary number for this number? So 192 11000000 168.10.10 something like that. Okay, 0001. So this alone is one address, 32 bits. So to humans it is not possible to remember, to memorize this bigger address. So what we do, we convert this binary into decimal so that it is easy to understand for us, right? So for computer this is in bits, but for now for us, for humans, it is in your decimal number. So I hope it is clear to you why this conversion is there, why we need conversion from binary to decimal and decimal to binary. And we do not assign IP address in binary format. No, only computer understand binary. We always deal with the decimal numbers, right? So you need to remember this part. But yes, we are discussing for computers, so that is 32 bit. Total IP is of 32 bit. Just always remember that this is very basic part. If you are not able to answer this in like in any interview, then it's very bad impression. IP, MAC and your port number, so these address length, it should be memorized to you guys. It's supposed to be. Then yes, it is a binary number. Okay, it has two parts. So before that, let me tell you, like maximum 32 bits are there. These are divided like this. So we have divided 32 bits into four parts. Okay, so 32 by 4 equal to 8. So it means in each part there are 8 bits. 8 bits in first part, 8 bits in second part, 8 bits in third part and 8 bits in fourth part. Okay, now if you remember, 1 is known as mono, 2 is known as bi or di, 3 as tri. So in the same way, 8 is known as, what we call that, octet, yeah, octa, right? So this is known as octet 1. Oct means 8. This is octet 2, octet 3, octet 4. So we can simply say that IP address which is complete 32 bit. Okay, so this is divided into 4 octets and each octet is of 8 bits. It means 8 into 4 is equal to 32 bits. So this is the basic part again about IP address, that IP is of 32 bit and this complete this total 32-bit address, it is divided into 4 parts, and each part is known as an octet, and each octet is of 8 bits. So which is total again 32-bit, right? Okay, so this is about that, and this network part and host part I will discuss in detail when we will discuss about classes. Okay. Okay, so yes, this slide is done. So what about the next one? So we have discussed this part that yes, for humans to understand this, we need to convert it into decimal notation. So why we know this is dotted decimal? See, we have seen IP addresses like this, 192.168.10.5. So you can see these are decimal numbers and they are separated by dots, 3 dots always. So that is the reason they are known as dotted decimal notation, right? So these decimal numbers are separated by some dots. Okay, fantastic. So now let's read or let's study about the minimum and maximum range of IP address. How so? Let's see. Each octet has 8 bits. Okay, now let's see what can be the minimum IP address and what can be the maximum IP address. So if I take example of decimal number system, okay, we need or we use 0 to 9, these 10 numbers. So what is the minimum decimal number? So that is, you can see 10 zeros, or again it is a 0. How many times you will write 0? It is again 0. Okay, and what is the maximum decimal number? So you can see how many times, 99999, like that. So it is can be up to infinite. So these are mathematical terms, I'm not going into that. But in binary we have this limit. We know in decimal we don't know how many 9s or 8s and 987s can be placed there. No, there are no limit, there are infinite range. But in in binary, in IP, we have this range that yes, in a single octet there can be maximum 8 bits. It means suppose there are only 2 bits. Okay, so these 2 bits can be 00, 01, 10 or 11. So 2 bits means 4 possible communications. Okay, maybe there are 3 bits. Okay, fine. So 3 bits means 000 or 001 or 010, 100, 101, 110, 111. So there can be 8 combinations. So are you getting my point? So by using 8 bits, how many possible combinations we can have? How many addresses? It means it is 0, it is 1, this one, or it is 2, 3. So this can be the number, resulting number from these. This is binary and this is decimal. So now if you'll see, it means the formula is 2 raised to the power 8. 2 raised to the power 8 and 2 raised to the power 8. It means maximum number is 256. In each octet, maximum 256 numbers can come. Just listen to me carefully. In each octet, maximum 256 numbers can come. Okay, so these 256 numbers need to be from 0 to 255 in each octet. 0 to 255, 0 to 255, and again 0 to 255, like that. So yes, if you will see the minimum IP address, that will be 0.0.0, like very first IP address. And what about last IP address? 255, 255, 255 and 25. That is last IP address. So you need to remember this, that IP address range in each octet that can vary from minimum 0 to maximum 255, right? So that is a logic, there is a logic behind that. And what is the logic? That we have maximum 8 bits per octet. Okay, so how many combinations we can have in an octet? 2 raised to the power 256, and the number can be from 0 to 255. So you will never see some number written like this, 312.50.7.3. no, you can never see an IP address like this. So the range, possible range is 0 to 255. Okay, so yes, I hope this point is clear to you. And let's see what is on the next slide. So just a second. Okay, then fine. So now is the turn about a very important concept, that is IP address class. See, in IP we have total 32 bits, right? So can you tell me how many total IP addresses we can have? Total IP addresses, right? So again, I've told you the formula. 2, because we are using binary number system, and the base of binary number system is 2, because 0 1, there are only 2 numbers that can be used to create a binary number. Okay, so 2 raised to the power bits 32. So this will be approximate 4.3 billion IP addresses, right? But you know that when we assign IP address, there should be some convention to address or to assign IP. Like, okay, when we are living in some street, for example, so this is some street, again this is some street, and there are, and again like this there are some cities. So like there are 50 houses in this street, there are 10 houses in this street, every house need a number, right? Every house need a street number, means this house is in street number 13 and house number 15, like that. Okay, so these IP addresses, they also need to be specified like this, so that they could be managed in a worldwide internet network. Okay, so what we have large enterprise networks. Okay, we have small office networks. Okay, and we have like smallest home networks, where we need like 1 or 2, maybe 5 IP addresses. Okay, so these are 3 types of network based upon the number of user that we are having. So it means larger enterprise have large user base, small means आपका you will have smaller number of users, and it means you have least number of users. So it is obvious that more number of users are there, they will need more number of IP addresses. And if you have like least number of users, 5 10, so then you need least number of IP addresses, right? So we divided complete IP into classes, so that in large enterprise network you can have some network of IP which have largest IP addresses, more number of IP addresses or host, and in small ones you can have minimum number of IP addresses. So yes, we divided for this management purpose the IP into 5 classes. So which are those 5 classes? So there are class A, class B, C, D and class E. So these are 5 different classes. So I'm not getting into this one, so just take a look at this one. See this one, I will discuss this with the subnetting part. Okay, so this is useful there, so I've just written it here so that you can get an idea. But if you are just starting from basic, so yes, don't look at this part. Now how IP classes are defined. See, 0.0.0.0.0, 255.255.255.255. This is minimum range, this is maximum range, and there are 4 octets. So if you will see in octet 1, the number can vary from 0 to 255. Okay, fantastic. Based upon this part, this first octet, INA has divided complete IP address space into 5 different classes. So from 0 to 1 to 7, class A is defined. So it is only for first octet. In second, it can be 0 to 255. In third, again 0 to 255, and etc. like this. So we are just talking about the first octet when we talk about the classes of IP address. Okay, so the range of class A is this, class B is this, 128 to 191, class C is this one, D and E. So we are just only talking about octet 1, right? Fine. So you need to remember these ranges of address classes. Fine. So let's discuss these classes one by one. So starting from class A. So network part and host part, so I'm skipping this part. Okay, don't worry about that, it will be covered. Some basics. Okay, this is for you, for your reference study. Okay, what next? So yes, again this is for you. I will explain this everything, so just have a look. Okay, so these slides I have added so that you can make your notes. So I will discuss everything. So first let me tell you about the classes. So maybe I have added these slides before the core material, right? So I should have added them at the last. So okay, I will cover this conversion part also. Fine, no problem. Okay, so let's start with class A, B and C. So what I'll do, I will make a comparison between these three. Okay, so we have three major classes: class A, class B and class C. Okay, so I have discussed that each class or each IP address has two parts. Each IP address has two parts. So which are those parts? One is network part and other is host part. Okay, what do we mean by network part and host part? So just for example, this is a switch. Okay, and these are three devices like that. Now we have 10.0.0.1, 10.0.0.2 and 10.0.0.3 IP. Okay, again we have some different switch, and this is having 20.0.0.1 and it is having 20.0.0.2 address. Right, now we need to communicate between these two PC. I want that this 20.1 PC should communicate with 10.1, but now we know that single switch means it will work on single network. It is a local area network, LAN device. So these two cannot connect without using a layer 3 device. So that layer 3 device will be a router like that. Now this router need to know which networks are running on this interface FA0/0 and which network is running on this interface FA0/1. So we need to assign some IP here also. So this is 20.0.0 network. So this is that I want to tell you guys, that 10.0.0 20.0.0 means the very first IP of any network. It cannot be used as an IP address, right? So why? Because routers, layer 3 devices, your network devices need to know the address, the core part of IP that is configured on each device. That is network ID, means which network is running on this side and this side, in this broadcast domain and in this broadcast domain. So just let's what to say, that just scratch idea that network, this first address can never be used anywhere. So just for now, this is the network and this is the host. Just remember this: 20.0.0.0, 20.0.0.2. How you will identify that it is a network address and this is a host address? And in the class B, if I talk about 170.0.0.1, 170.5.1.0.1. So this is a network ID, this is a network ID, yes or no? And one again, 170.0.0.0, 170.5.0.0. How to identify that which is a network ID and which is host ID? So this is the core concept that we need to know about each of the class. And how to identify that? We need to know how many part of this IP is reserved for network and how much part is reserved for host. Okay, so if it is clear to you, that's fantastic. Otherwise, slowly and steadily, one by one, all of the concepts will be cleared. So yes, to clarify that part, Aina has specified that in class A there are your 8 network bits and 24 host bits. Okay, in class B there are 16 network bits and 16 host bits. Fine. In class C there are 24 network bits and there are 8 host bits. So let me write that part, that in class A network bits are 8 and host bits, how many should be there? Total IP is of 32 bit, network bits are 8, so host bit means 24. So yes, host means 24 bits. So in class B network bits are 16, so again host bits will be remaining, so that should be always 16, right? And what about class C? Network bits 24 and host bits means 8, right? Now this part is standard, we cannot change this, right? Because this is standardized or specified by INA. So on the basis of this, just remember network bit is represented by 1 and host bit is represented by 0, right? So what I would say, say that 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, so this is the part of class A. So you can understand, no, class A means your 8 network bits and your 24 host bits, right? Like this, 3 4 5 6 7 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. It means this is your network part in class A, this is your host, this is your host, and this is your host part. So this is what I'm talking about class A. What about class B? 16 network bits and network bits are represented by 1. It means there will be 16 ones, right? And there should be 16 zeros, like this. So it means in class B there are 2 network parts and there are 2 host parts. It will make sense to you, just a minute, it will make sense. And in class C 1 2 3 4 5 6 8 16 and then 24 and 8 host bits. So in class C there are 3 network parts and 1 host parts. Now what do we mean by that? Just look at it. In class A we have the range from 0 to 127. In class B we have the range from 128 to 191, and in class C we have the range from 192 to 223. So let's take any example from 0 to 127. It can be 1, it can be 2, it can be 10, or it can be 50, 100, or 126, 127. So let me take this standard example of 10.0.0.0. So again in class B, let me take this example 172.19.0.0 and 192.168.10.0. Now in this one, this is network part, this is host, this is network part, this is host, and this is network part, and this is host. So just remember that when we are discussing about IP addressing, there are some different terms that we need to know. Okay, and what are those terms? First of all, so let me write them. So before that, I hope that you should take a screenshot of this, okay, so that it is, or just memorize this. So because I need to erase it first of all. Okay, so just a second, let me pause the video. So okay, I was talking about that when we are discussing about IP, there are some parameters. Okay, so what are those IP parameters? First of all, network ID. Okay, then there is first usable IP address. Okay, then there is last usable IP address. Okay, and broadcast address or broadcast ID is there, and then finally there is IP range. And again in IP range we need to discuss total IP range and valid IP range. So yes, there are 5 parameters: network ID, what is network ID, then what is first IP, last IP, your broadcast ID, and your IP range. So let me take one example of any class and let me clarify all of these 5 terms, because if you understand these terms, then yes, your IP addressing is clear, right? So how? So let's take this example. So okay, 10.0.0.0. So can you tell me which class is this address? So yes, this is class A. And again in 172.19.0.0, this is class B. And again 192.168.10.0, this is class C. Okay, how we came to know that they are class A, class B, and class C? So you will see this first number, first octet, and you will identify the range, right? So as C class was from 192 to 223, so this first is 192, it means this is from class C. Okay, fine. In class A we have 8 network bits and 24 host bits. Fine. In class B we have 16 network bits and 16 host bits. In class C 24 network bits and 8 host bits, right? So just see this definition of network ID. Network ID means, or not just means, so let me, an address where all host part are 0. See, what does it mean? That whichever is the host part, it should be 0 and the resultant is your network ID. Okay, then again broadcast ID, it was at number 4, so don't worry. Broadcast ID, an address, ID means identification, means address, where each host part is maximum, or maximum means what can be maximum number? 255, right? So this is network part. 8 bits means 1 octet and 24 bit means 3 octets. So this is your network part. So I have written 10.0.0.0. So yes, this is network ID, but when you change some host part 1.0.0, this is not network ID, because all host parts are not 0. Again 10.0.1.0, no, this is not host address, because one of the host is not 0. So in the same way, any number where there are not all host zeros, it can never be network ID. For example, not just 10. So let's take the example of some other number. So let's say that number is 50.5.15.25. So what is this? Network address or not? No, this part is host and it is not 0, so this is not network ID. And how to convert this into network ID? 50.0.0.0 means all host parts are 0. And how to identify which parts are host? So let's take the example of class B. So this one, in class B 16 bit, it means 8. So these are network parts and these are your host parts. So this is network and this is network. It means these two parts can never be other than 0 to make it a network ID. It means 172.19.1.0, what is this? It is not network ID, it is host ID, host address, right? So it means this address can be used on a PC, on a server, on some IP phone. But yes, 172.19.0.0, this cannot be used on some PC or some server. It means network ID is just used to represent that complete network. See, once again, if I take this example, that yes, if there are some PCs or there are some devices connected on a switch, it means the first ID of that particular network, which is network ID, that can never be assigned on these devices. So if I will take the example, and okay, so just get it here. Okay, so what I will do, just do it 0, and what you will get invalid IP for this interface. It means 10.0 can never be used as an IP address. Okay, so just always remember this part. So that IP, the first IP, that is known as your network ID. And why we and where we use network address, we will discuss this in OSPF or routing protocols. When we are using routing, static routing or dynamic routing, there you will see that suppose if there are 10 hosts, okay, like that, and which are connected on the same network using a switch. So to get onto this one or this one or this one from this PC, we need a router to connect, again routers, and like this. So we don't define the route for each of them, like route for 10.1, okay, route for 10.2. No, we don't need to define that. We define route for complete network 10.0. So this address is used on these routers. That's why we do not use this network address on the end devices, which are your PC, which are your servers or your host. It can be any IP phone or IP camera. So I hope this point is clear to you, why we don't use network ID on end devices, and how to identify network device network ID, and how to identify host ID. So these everything else, then network ID and broadcast ID, that is your host ID. Host address means it can be configured on your PCs or your servers or your phones, right? So network ID is that. And what about broadcast ID? Broadcast ID means where all of the host part, it is maximum or 255. It means 10.0.0.0, it was network ID. So what should be the broadcast ID? 10.255.255.25 means all host part, that is full, that is 255. What about 172? So 172.19.255.255, that is your broadcast address. Okay, what about class C? 192.168.10.255, this is your broadcast address. So like that you can identify which is a network ID and which is a broadcast ID. Okay, fine. So now when we know about network and broadcast address, we need to know about some other terms. So what are those terms? So let's discuss one by one. Okay, so just a second. Fine. So first is your, it means third one is first okay, before that let's see IP range, right? So IP range means IP addressing from your network ID to broadcast ID. It means 10.0.0.0 to 10.255.255.255 means in 10.0 network there are this much of IP addresses, right? So this is the range. It means you can assign IP from 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, 10.4 like that, and up to where 10.255 255.254. so this is again one more range. You can assign IP of this range, and this is total range. It means you cannot use network ID, you cannot use broadcast ID on any host, right? So these two are reserved and these are valid. So how to identify? Suppose 10.0.255, this is no broadcast address, no, because only one part is 255, these two are not 255. So to be the broadcast address, all host parts should be 255. Now this is the address. Once, what should be the next IP after that? So that should be 10 dot, this 255 will be 0 and it will add 1 in the previous octet. So this should be 10.1.0. This is valid IP, this was valid IP. What should be the next valid IP? 10.0.1.1. What should be the next? 2, 3, 4. Again it should be up to 255. What should be the next valid IP? Okay, 10.0.2.0. Again this is a valid IP. So now in this way it means you can see we can assign a lot of number of IP address. So how many addresses we can have in class A? So we can have 2 raised to the power number of host bits. So what is the formula for that? 2 raised to the power number of host bits. So now you can see here that how many host bits we are having in class A. 24. So in class A network, single network of class A, there are 2 raised to the power 24 number of host addresses. In class B, like in 172.19.0.1, okay, .2, .3, it should be up to 255. Okay, what should be the next address? 172.19.1.0. again it should be 12255, then 2.0, 3.04. so it should be up to 255.254 valid range, right? So again in class B we have 2 raised to the power number of 16 total IPs, and valid IP means -2. Again in this -2, because we cannot use network ID, we cannot use broadcast ID. In the same way in class C we have only 2 raised to the power 8. It means 256 IP addresses in a single class C network, right? And valid means -2 is equal to 254. So let me give this example first of all. So just a second. Okay, so to clarify things, how to assign IP addresses, and what is network ID, what is broadcast ID, and how and why we cannot use them. So I have taken this simple topology here. It means I'm using a small network of some office, and maybe there are some users like 200 users, right? So they need IP addresses, and I need to assign some class. So you need just 200 IP addresses. So which class you should use for that? In class A you have maximum number of addresses, in class B you have less number than class A, and in class C you have 2 raised to the power 8. It means 256 addresses. So I think class C should be used, है ना? So okay, 192.168.10.0, this one address, right? So in class C there are 2 raised to the power 8 addresses. So let me take this pen once again. How to identify that this is a class C address? First of all, so class C means 192.0.0.0. This is a class C address. 192.1.0.0, this is a class C network. It means this is network part. In class C there are 3 networks and there is 1 host. It means this is network ID. Okay, this is network ID, and this is 192. So you can see we have many number of networks in class C. So I have taken this example only, 192.168.10.0, and I will explain you why I take always this example, because this is a private address, right? So what is private and what is public we will discuss later. So for now I can take this example or this one or this one, but I'm not taking these addresses. I'm taking just this as a reference example. Okay, so it doesn't mean that I need to take this example only. No, I can take whatever example that I please. Okay, fine. So if I've taken this example, in this scenario I have 3 network parts and 1 host part. Means in class C we have 8 number of host bits. It will be resulting into 256 total hosts or IP addresses, and valid means 256 minus 2 is equal to 254. Why we have done -2? Because see, I cannot use 10.0. I cannot use 10. Sorry, not 10. My bad. I cannot use 192.168.10.0. I cannot use 192.168.10.255. It means this is my network ID. It means this is my broadcast ID. Right, so this is not used, this is not used, so it means I have done -2. So this is the reason we do -2 always with the case of IP addresses. Fine, so we have total 254 usable IP. So first address, this will be .1, .2, .3, .4. So up to last PC we can use 254. So in this case, in this class C single network, we can have 254 valid host. But in this is the case of a single network. If I take different network, 192.168.11.0, so yes, this network again will have its own 254 valid hosts. 12.0 again 254 valid hosts. So right, so IP addresses are more, but they are divided into multiple networks. See, in class A networks are less but IPs are more, but in class C networks are a big number, but in per network there are like only 254 256 IP, means very less number of IP addresses are there in a single network. So yes, class C is designed for your smaller networks and class A is designed for your large enterprise networks. So I hope things are clear so far. So we have discussed this part till now, network part. So we have cleared that yes, each each IP address has two parts, network and host part. And what is the logic for that? And okay, I think something is remaining. Network ID, broadcast ID, valid and in total range. Okay, so total range means 10.0 to 10.255.255.255. Okay, this was total range. And what about valid range? 10.0.0. Means total range means from network ID to broadcast ID, and valid range means first usable IP to last usable IP, right? So this is the meaning from first usable and last usable. Means network ID, this is the address just after network address. What was network address? 10.0. So after that comes first usable address, means after this address can be used as an host address on any PC. And before the address, just before broadcast address, that is your last usable address. So that is first usable address and this is your last usable. So from first usable to last usable, this is your valid range, means this range can be used on your end devices, your host in the network. So yes, there are these 5 terms that we have discussed: network address, broadcast address, first usable, last usable, and your IP range. So if you are cleared with this concept of these 5 terms, then yes, I think you know what is IP address. So yes, so far we have discussed this network and host part. Network bits, host bits, total host, yes. Range we have covered. Private, I am not done with this till now. Subnet mask, no, we have not done this. And reserved, no, we have not done. So far we have done only this part. Okay then. So let's see about class B. So you can see class A address is used in very big enterprise network because it has more number of hosts. And class B, subnet mask. Okay, so just clear these things first of all. This one is about class B, right? I'm not talking about reserved addresses right now. Class B is used in moderate sized networks. Okay, class C is used in your small networks, right? Okay, class D and E. So class D is reserved for multicasting. And what is multicasting? So just let me give you example that when I need, so there are 3 senders and there are 3 receivers, A, B, C, X, Y, Z. When A is sending data to X only, so that is your unicast. Okay, when A is sending data to X and Y, it means to more than one. Unicast means to one, right? 1 to 1. And then when A is sending data from X to Y, means one to many. That is your one more type of communication, which is multicast. It means you are communicating with a group. And when A is sending data to all of the devices in this network, it means you are doing what? Broadcasting. So what is broadcasting? One to all in the network. So right, so whatever we are discussing right now, 10.1 to 10.255.255.254, so these valid ranges, they are used for unicast communication. Okay, and we have taken the example that 10.255.255.255, this is reserved for broadcast address, right? So what about multicast? So there is some different specified range for multicast address, and that is your complete class D. It means 224 .0.0.5. This is your multicast address which is used by OSPF. So we'll discuss about these multicast address in the later on videos. So yes, just remember these normal addresses, they are unicast addresses, and the last address of any network is reserved for broadcast address, and there is a particular class reserved for multicasting which is class D, and class E is reserved for future uses maybe, and that was for it was the time that only IPv4 was there, and IPv4 is a limited number, only 4.3 billion addresses are there. So yes, some of the part of IP address was reserved so that it could be used in the case of emergencies or for like any unexpected future uses. So right, so some addresses were reserved, but nowadays if you'll see IPv6 is there, we have no shortage of IP addresses, so we can do everything, each and everything by IPv6, so we don't need actually this class C address right now. Okay, fine. So after that, data transmission, I have discussed this. Okay, so before reserved IP address, let me tell you about subnet mask. Okay, sorry, subnet mask, yes. So let me give you the example first, just a minute. When I'm assigning some IP on this device, so if I will assign IP of class A, so just keep looking at the screen, 10.1, and when you will click on the subnet mask, what is that? 255.0.0. okay, so just remove it and assign the IP of class B, 172.10.0.1. so what is the subnet mask? 255.255.0.0. okay, so remove it. Let's use the address of class C, 195.0.0.1. so what is the subnet mask now? Triple time 255.0. so how by default this subnet mask is being taken by this PC, right? So if you will talk about any host that knows about the subnet mask, by default subnet mask. So let me clarify things. What do we mean by subnet mask? See, it is again IP like a number. So by default, generally subnet mask is used to represent class of IP address. It is not the exact definition for now. So when I will be discussing subnetting, this definition will change, right? So what is the exact definition? Subnet mask will tell us about the network part and the host part of an IP address. Understood? What do we mean by that? That network part and host part. I told you in class A there is one network part and 3 host part. It means 1 octet is reserved for network and 3 octets are reserved for host. It means 8 bit are network and 24 bits are for host. This is the reason why class A had the biggest number of IP addresses or host addresses. So how this is defined? So this PC, this one, how this identify that this is class A, this is class B, or this is class C? This PC have no other idea. So just a second. Okay, so this PC, when I'm assigning IP address on this PC, this doesn't know about 195. No, it will look only at this address and it will convert it into binary. So it means there should be 24 ones and 8 zeros. So then it will identify, okay, it looks like it is a class C address, right? Or this has this part reserved as network and this as host. It means if you will change any part here, so let me give you this very good example. This is network part and this is host part. Okay, 195.0.0.1. fine. So let me copy this and let me use this network on this PC. Okay, so just this one, if I'll do .2, fine. So these two PCs are on same network. What is the network address for that? 195.0.0.0, right? But what if I will change the address on this PC? See, if I will do 195.0.10.1, this is class C, this is network ID, but this is some different network. So let me tell you the difference, that this is the network ID of, this is .1, this is .2, and this is with some different network, that is .10.1. so this switch is known to make the communication in a single network. Okay, so let's see if this can ping to this. So just a second. 10.195.0.0.2. okay, so let me try to ping 195.0.0.2. so there should be communication. Okay, I need to be in the real time mode for that. So yes, we are getting the communication, fine. What about if I communicate with this one? So I cannot communicate with that, because that is a different network ID. This network is different than this network, because this is the 195.0.0.0 network, and this is 195.0.10.0 network. So how did we identify? By looking at this network part. These three are reserved for network. So when there is change in any of this part, it means we are changing the network. So when we look at these two number, 195.0.0 and 195.0.0.10, it means we have changed something. So we have changed the network. So this is a different network IP, and this is a different network IP. So there will be no communication. So we need to remember that this is a different network. It has different number of IP addresses. This is a different network. It has different number of IP addresses. So how PC is identifying that? By using the subnet mask, right? Okay, so this is about subnet mask, and by default class A is having subnet mask of 255.0.0.0, class A. 255.255.0.0, class B. 255.255.255.0, class C. Why? Because in class A we know 8 network bits, in class B 16 network bits, class C 24. 8 means 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8, and rest are zeros in class A. This is binary number, and how to convert then it into decimal number. So this conversion is that. And class B, it is like this, 16 ones and 16 zeros. So this is the resultant, this one. In class C there are 24 ones and there are 8 zeros. The resultant is this one. Now the next concept is how to convert this decimal number into binary, this binary number into decimal number, right? Okay, so to understand that, so let's erase this for a while. Okay, right, so just take this example. See, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. okay, and I will repeat this process for all other numbers. Okay, so let it be like this, 6 7 8. So there is a shortcut for this. Okay, so just remember these numbers: 128, 64, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, like this. There are 8 bits per octet, and there are 8 values that you need to remember. So just remember one value, 128, and make half. 64, half of 64, 32, half of 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1, like that. Okay, now whenever you are having this 1 at upper side, add all of the below numbers. How? So let me give you this example first. Let me take 1 0 1 0 1 1 0 0. Okay, 1 2 3 4 5 6 7 8. Okay, now this is 1 0, so we don't need to do anything with 0. We just need to take ones. Okay, 1 1 and this one. So this is first number. So what is below first number? This is 128. 64, so we don't need to write that. Okay, we can write, okay, fine. Then third one, 32, 16, 8, 4, 2, 1. So we don't need to use these numbers, so just leave them and just add this 128 plus 32 plus 8 plus 4. So this number should be 168, 172. This should be 172 in decimal, right? In the same way, let me convert 1 0 0 0 1 1 0 1 2 3 4 1, right? So this is first number 128, 64, 32, 16. This is 8, then 4, 2, and this is 1. So 128 plus 8, 36, 40. So this number should be 141. So this is how you convert from binary to decimal number. Okay, so when you are having all ones, then you need to add all of them, so the result should be 255. So in class A, this is the reason why we have only 255 one time, because there are no only 8 network bits. It means there are only 8 on bits, 8 ones. But in class B, there are 16 ones. It means there are 255.255.00. And in class C, we have like this. So let me write once again for the final time, that in class C we have this one, this one, sorry for that, 1 2 3 4 5 6 8, 1 2 3 4 5 6 8, and 1 3 4 8, and this one. So this is in class C. These 8 in creates 255, again 255.255. When we have everything 0, it means we doesn't need to add anything, so that will be 0. So now you can see this is the default subnet mask of class C, and when we will do subnetting, this part will be changed. Okay, so now this is your reference material, you can study from this. So this is the conversion process that I have laid out, this one. Okay, and this is your, and I can do one thing also, just a second, right, like this. So just read from it, complete. So yes, when we will do subnetting, this default subnet mask value will change. Maybe for class A, we can have 255.255.255.0, this subnet mask for class A. Okay, so after subnetting, we have classless IP addresses. So this is for you. Again, you can take the reference of this example and you can study about IP address. And again, this one about network ID, host ID, valid range, first usable IP, last usable IP, and everything. Okay, so I have written kind of everything, and this is the last address. Now let's discuss about types of IP addresses and reserved IP address. So two topics are remaining in IP address, right? Okay, so now let's talk about reserved IP addresses. And in reserved addresses, you can see I told you in class A we have 0 to 127 range. Okay, so this was total range, but 0 is not used, 127 is not used. So what was the valid range of class A IP? That was from 1 to 126. Now why 0 is not used? Because this is the very first address, and this first address is reserved. So we cannot say that it is not usable or it is invalid. No, it's not invalid, it's valid, it is usable, but not for addressing purpose, not for the address on some host or some PC or laptop. No, it is reserved for two purposes. One is default routing. When we will study routing, then I will discuss that, yes, what is default routing and everything. And one more thing, when we are having some hardware, some PC, okay, I purchased some PC fresh from the market and it has no operating system. When I installed the operating system for the first time, it has the network adapter installed, it has the IPv4, IPv6, TCP IP settings enabled. So when this PC has no address, it is having this address, right? So this is the use of this 000. It is also known as unspecified address, known as unspecified. It means PCs or devices which has no address, they have this address. So kind of you can say that, and especially it is useful when we study DHCP, means when we are requesting for DHCP IP address, dynamic automatic IP, so we need to have some unspecified, means ki I don't have any IP address right now, I will be requesting some IP from the DHCP server, right? So yes, these are reserved for these two purposes mainly. Now why 127 network is reserved, why we do not use the last address in class A? Because that is reserved for loopback testing. What do we mean by loopback testing? So just see here, when I'm doing window R and then ncpa.cpl, it means I'm opening the TCP IP stack of my computer, means where I can put my IP address settings. Okay, so when you will go to properties and when you will go to IPv4, you can see that this is where I need to assign my IP. Okay, so again you will put the IP, it will pick the default subnet mask, we'll talk about gateway later, and DNS again later. Okay, so this is where you assign your IP. So 127 is used for what? Means this stack, this TCP IP stack, see this one, this is working smoothly, yes or no, in your PC, in your software, means the software part is okay or not, IP address can be assigned to this software part or not. So for that testing we need some address. So it means when again I'll go to CMD, and when you will ping with your loopback address, this is known as loopback testing address. Okay, so when this reply is coming, it means everything is okay in your operating system, IP can be configured properly. Okay, right. So if there is no reply from this, which is very rare, so then you need to do some netsh commands, winshock commands, or in short you need to reset your TCP IP stack. So just Google command to reset. So just let me write command to reset TCP IP stack of Windows 10, right? So you will get some commands and then you will run those commands in this CMD and you will restart the PC. This problem will be resolved, which is very rare. Okay, and not just one, see .2 again it is giving the ping reply. .3 means 127 complete network is reserved for your loopback testing, right? Again, so some people say that it is used to check the connectivity of your LAN card. So that is not right actually. To check the LAN card connectivity or status report, you need to ping with your own IP address, right? The IP address which is configured on your interface itself. Like this is the IP on my interface, I need to ping with this. If the ping is replying, it means my LAN card is okay. If there is no reply, it means your LAN card is faulty, you need to change that. Fine. So yes, there is difference between LAN card testing and loopback testing. Loopback is loopback deals with your TCP IP stack software part, and this self IP ping, it deals with your hardware NIC part. Okay, fine. So yes, this is reserved for default routing and it is reserved for 127 means loopback address. It means you cannot use 127 IP on any PC. So let us try. First of all, 0 by 0. Can we use this IP? No, invalid. Okay, so can we use 127 IP? So let's see, 127.1. so yes, this is invalid IP address, right? So we cannot use these addresses on any end device. Now link local address. Okay, link local means what? My PC need to have some IP address. Fine. Okay, now when I will be discussing type of IP addresses, there are two type of addresses, static and dynamic. Static means that I'm doing right now, that yes, I'm assigning some IP. That is static, means network admin is entering the values by himself or herself, means it is manual process. I will configure the IP, subnet mask, default gateway, DNS and etc. everything. But there is one more way, that you will configure a DHCP server in your network. Those clients will be connected to DHCP server and yes, they will be getting automatic IP. So let me give you an example. Like this is my server and it is connected to my switch. So this is local area network, this is my DHCP server. So you need to assign some address to your device DHCP server. So let's say I assigned this 192.68.10.1 IP to the DHCP server, okay, and this is the subnet mask. Then you are going to services, then DHCP, on the service, and just default gateway you don't need to put right now, but okay, you can do same address. DNS server, I'm not using DNS. Start address, I want to start the address from 11, okay. This is the subnet mask. So let me save this. So when I'm doing automatic IP, see at this DHCP, you can see I'm getting the reply from the DHCP server. I'm not assigning anything, but yes, automatically I'm getting the IP address. So this is DHCP, dynamic IP, which is given by the DHCP server, and this was static IP, which was configured by network admin. So yes, these are two different types of your IP address. So when let's see, or let's say there is some issue with this DHCP server. So in that case, I'm not having any static IP, no, and I'm not getting any DHCP dynamic IP from the server. In that case, my computer need to have some IP. So this is the range that I will be getting, 169.254 network, okay. Once again, 169.254 static, no DHCP. Okay, so you can see this is the IP 169.254.8350. This is B class. 169 lies in which range? 128 to 191, which is B class. Okay, so B class means 2 network part and 2 host part. Okay, so this is the host part. It means the network ID should be 169.254.0.0. So this network IP is given to all of the devices. How? So let's see at this PC also. So this is the same IP address. So let me erase this. So can you see this? This is the different IP. That was 80.50, but now this is 169.250. Means your network ID is same. So this network is reserved for your APIPA. What is APIPA? Automatic private IP addressing, and it is addressed, it is used in the cases when there is some problem with your DHCP server, right? So this is again one more reserved address. Then I have talked about this multicast. So yes, your 224 to 239 complete class D is reserved for multicasting, and complete class E is reserved for your future usable addresses, right? So I don't know what kind of experiments or R&Ds they were doing with these addresses, but yes, this is just theoretical part. We have no trace of these addresses, means how many number of network bits are there, how many number of host bits are there in these classes. So just we need to study about that, and maybe this can be some exam question, which is the future usable address, or which is the you can say IP address reserved for R&D purpose. So that is class E. So far we have discussed IP, their classes and their reserved IP addresses and everything, subnet mask, network ID, broadcast ID. So one thing is left, I think, which is your types of IP address, right? So let's look at this also. So we can classify IP address based on these 3 parameters. First is configuration type. It means I'm configuring manually or using DHCP server. So yes, I have talked about this, it is clear to you. Then based on version, one is IPv4 that we have discussed so far, and one is IPv6. Sorry for that. Let me take a breath, I'm talking too much continuously. Yes, IPv6 means the address which was used when we saw that yes, IPv4 is only this much and it will be exhausted very soon. So in 1990s, INA realized that soon we need some different address space which has largest or larger IP space. So that's why it was only 32-bit and new address was developed as 128-bit hexadecimal number. So right, IPv6 will be discussed in some other video in length, but yes, for now there are two version based classifications of IP. One is IPv4, one is IPv6. This has less number of IPs. It has like unbelievable number of IP address amount, right? So yes, there are these two parts, and again there is this one more part, public and private. So just let's take this example of public and private, that in 1990s, as I was talking, INA felt the need of some new address space. So IPv6 address was launched, not just launched immediately in 1990s, no. Some committees were drawn that yes, let's work for some future address space of IP. So IPv5 was there, it was rejected. IPv6 was then under proposal, and yes, IPv6 was considered to be promising, and work was continuously being done on that, and finally in 1996 maybe it was its first draft was launched, है ना? Okay, but till from 1990s to 1996, what we did, right? So INA came up with some concepts to to stop the wastage of IP address, and the concept was, one was subnetting. We will discuss in next video maybe subnetting, and another was NAT. So what was NAT? So let's discuss about that. So there should be some diagram before, yes, like this. So let's take the example of this ISP. This is internet service provider. It can be Jio, it can be AT&T, it can be Verizon, like any service provider, tier 1 service provider maybe. And okay, these are some companies, company A, organization B, some companies C, D and E, everything. And they need like 100 users, 100 IP address, 1000 users, 1000 IP addresses, 10,000 addresses, like they need IP addresses in a nutshell. So they will contact to their service provider like that. Now if we are having only IP address, so if we need to assign IP to them, 1000, 10,000, 100, so IP addresses are assigned directly to them. So just keep in mind this approach. One approach is this, to assign IP like that, and let's take this approach to some other level. Okay, how? That we are not using this approach now. Okay, so what we are doing at this place, that we are saying that boss, this is your own company, right? These are private companies, and this is your public network. This is the public network. So what INA came up with, the concept of private and public IP address. It means they said here we will use public IP and here we will use private IP. It means private IP will be used in some organization like Microsoft is there, like Google or like IBM, which we are having like hundreds and thousands and lakhs, millions of user. Okay, so what we are doing, what is the benefit by using this public and private? So what INA said, that this private address, it is repeatable. Okay, and what about this public? This is unique. It means that INA has reserved some address like 10.0.0. Complete network is reserved as private address. Okay, how? Means company B need to assign the IP to its devices, so they will use 10.0 network. Okay, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, fine. Again company B, they can use the same network, 10.1, 10.2, 10.3, like this, 10.0 network, 10.0. It means all of the enterprises in the world can use the same network. Make sense? Not the same IP, 10.1, 10.2. This IP cannot be same, but yes, these are unique IP in the network, but networks are not unique across your enterprises. So now they need to connect with internet. When they will be connecting to their router like this, when I discussed in this one. So let's see this one. So let me pause the video and erase the screen. Yes, okay, see, this is the connection from ISP to my home router, wireless router, and then from wireless router to this switch or this PC. So you can see this PC should be having some IP. When I will be clicking on DHCP, it will pick some IP from the router, because that router is working as a DHCP server. Okay, there is some fault maybe. Just a second. So DHCP auto, so okay, maybe some fault in that, otherwise it should have the IP address of this network. So I'm not getting into this because it will take time, and this video is getting more than 1.5 hours long, है ना? Okay, so yes, at this side we are using public IP. See this one, because this is, we are connecting to the public network or internet. This is public IP, and this side we are using private IP. So you can see 190. So let me give you this representation, just a second. Sorry for that. Yes, this one. So this private, this address, this is private, yes or no? I will tell you which are the public addresses and which are the private addresses. Okay, so let me delete this PC for a while, and if I'll take a different PC, and if I will connect that to the router, and again if I'll go to DHCP, so yes, it should pick some dynamic IP if everything is okay, otherwise no, there is some problem. But yes, okay, let's stick to the concept that this side there should be private IP and this side there should be public IP. Okay, maybe I'm using some wrong port for that. Okay, so let's connect this to the gigabit ethernet 0/4 fast forward, and if I again go to DHCP, it should have, okay, like that, perfect. So this is the private address we are having, okay, at this side, and maybe this is the example of one company. And okay, so let me delete this one. Again, if there is some different company and they are again using some home router for their network connection, okay, like this, and they are using their PCs or their servers or like private devices like this. Okay, so just delete this from here to this part, internet, and then from this one to this one. Okay, so again it will be getting some DHCP IP this side, and that should be private also, because see, these wireless router, they are configured to provide the private IP addresses. So this is helping us to save a lot of IP addresses. Means here you can use the same network, same IP addresses, right? So this was the concept of public and private IP addresses. Means in your private companies you are using the same IP, same network worldwide, right? So now if you will say that okay, 10.1 is being used here, 10.1 is being used here, if they will communicate with each other, so there should be conflict now, because same IP is being used. So yes, they will never directly communicate with each other, because they are two different organizations, they need to be secure. So one network cannot access another network without this process. Means they need to be connected through internet, and now using internet, this is a unique IP, maybe 159.7.9.3, and again here 163.11.191.13. so these are unique IP addresses. Means public IPs are unique and private IPs are reusable. So this is the concept that INA used, so that IP addressing wastage can be stopped. So I hope this concept is clear to you, that yes, what is public IP and what is private IP. So this is the range that I have written, that which are reserved for private addresses. In class A, if you will talk, this network 10 dot network is reserved for private address. In class B 16, see, this is only one network in class A which is reserved for private address, okay, and in class B there are 16 networks. See how 172.16, 170.17, 18, 19 up to 31, means 16 to 31 is equal to total 16 network. So in class B there are 16 network reserved as private addresses. In class C, where you need only small number of hosts, you can use class C network. So this 192.168, this third octet is reserved for private addressing. 192.68, it will represent that yes, you are using your private address. In this example, if you will see, if I will click on this, so you can see 192.68 means this is private address. Okay, so all of the small companies need to use this C class address. So in this C class we have 2 raised to the power 8 256 private networks. In class B 16 and class A 1. And this is the reason that I was using only these special addresses. Remember, I was always using 192.68 or 170.16 or 19 and 10.0. So now it is clear to you that I was using private IP addressing. Okay then, so other than this, all of the addresses are public addresses. How? 1 to 9, 0 is not usable. See, 0 is reserved and 1 to 9 are public, 10 is your public, this is private. Again 11 to 126, these are public, and 127 is reserved. Again from 128.0.0 to 169.253, this is public, and 169.254 was APIPA. So 254.0 to 191.255.255.25, like that. So these are all public addresses of class B. And in class C you can see 192.167, this is public, 192.169, this is public. So these are the public addresses, and on the previous slide we were having private addresses. So this is how you identify which is a public address, which is a private address, and public address is used where and private address is used where in the network. Static and dynamic, yes, I have discussed about them. Okay, and one more thing, let me show you this slide so that you can have some reference study material. Okay, so just a second, this one, right? So this is about public and private address. Fine. So this that I discussed also, just a second. Okay, like that. Static and dynamic. Static means provided by network admin manually, and dynamic means provided by the DHCP server. Okay, then we have static and dynamic. Okay, so yes, thank you for watching this video guys, and I'll see you guys in the next video. Till then, take care of yourself and keep smiling, keep learning, keep sharing, and stay happy. Bye bye, take care.